Watch that, please.
Yes, Raja.
Thank you. All right, so today I just want to talk about a few of the tickets I have for the next week or so. So let's start with SPY. All right, so here we are with SPY. As expected, it dipped and recovered. So yeah, this was my range for last Friday. If it exceeds this one, it has a limit of reaching this, but this is a wall for now. And once we are above 445, it will, I mean, if you go by the trend, dip and recover, if you see all these days between the expiry, monthly expiry, it's been sticking to the close to upper trend line. So, but if you see, the dip has been aggressively bought. Even here, it went pretty up. I mean, the calculation here was, if you see here, it's 417 and the dip was 405. It had 12 points, dipped and recovered before any dip is 425. So 417, 405, which is 12 point. So 417 and then 425. It's almost dipped and recovered like a square root. So similar calculations have been doing it for the last two occurrences, and it went smoothly, like 425 and then 414. It's almost 10 to 12 points range dip, and it's bought up quickly back to the upper trend line. And I'm going with this kind of a dip and recovery before the actual dip happens. If you see, there is an doji, kind of extended doji here and almost close, but it's not appearing here, but it was there and it was here as well. So I just read that, and 10-point dip. So if you see here, it's 436 and it almost went to 422. So just about 12 points, 13 points here, and quickly bought up. And same thing like I had when I let it puts 444 here, and then went to 436, 12 points. I was expecting a little bit more, 435. That's where I kind of surprised me. I thought of it will have a Friday dip here and then it will bought up, but it always surprises here. But here, couple of days of consolidation, and I'm expecting it should hit this 450 zone here, like a curve into this range, and one more. I mean, it will depend on how the September goes, but this is where it kind of consolidates or eventually comes back at this range. Not sure at that point, but this is my level to see. If we are above 445, then we can play quickly lotus for expiration dates, as SPY has 2 or 3 expirations per week, right? So this is one of the things. If you incline this with any other, so that's SPY. Let's go back to Amazon is something which I have in here. So this inverted hammer, this reversal hammer is something which I'm pretty much looking at. And if you see that on different time zones, I have marked this green dotted line here. Let's go back to history of it. So that's a very good range. Once it breaks out of it on a day, here, if you see, it has a big potential to move 3330. So from 3210, let's make it like 3250 above, but I have buffer of 5 points here. Once you're above this line, it has a good, buyers will come in to bring it up. So there's few occurrences of it. 1, 2, 3, and there's 1, 4, but it has a day. It broke up on hourly range here, and always if it comes down as well. So this acts like good range where it gets pushed. and there were 4 before, and there's a fifth one here, and there's a sixth one here. So, and even this is a falling wedge, and once that's a good bullish sign here as well. And if you go back to 4 hours, it kind of has this base formation, and this particular range 3 to 18, it has a dark pool. I mean, as I marked it here, there was a dark pool somewhere around this zone, very big, huge volume, probably this one here. So always with Amazon, whenever you see a big dark pool appears, it kind of consolidates right around that level and then makes a big move. It has happened several times with it. So if at all we are above 3205 to open with on Monday, and if it exceeds 3220, or if it is around 3220, we'll close our open call position. But if it is here, and I will wait for an open hour to have a dip, it will break out and retest it, and that's where we can go further up for 3250. And we also seen 3250 in the money put flow for September 17th, I guess. I'm not sure the date, expiration date, but there was 3250 put flow too. So which means that we are going to hit that range most often. So 3250 and obviously 3330. So these are the range levels I have for this one. But obviously we have to wait for the price action and the levels to be broken up. We cannot just blindly go for it. So, but still we have calls on any pop at the open. We'll try to book some or close it all and re-enter on dips or retesting this level if it breaks out. And obviously if it fails to go above 3202, then it's going for 3160, or I mean, the only worry is on monthly. If you see, this candle is very bad. I mean, very bad candle that it goes back to testing 3000s to win. Let's say, so see here on previous occurrences too. This particular candle here, it had a good breakout. I remember that time, and it followed through to hit the lows before going up. So whatever we discussed is for next week or the week after, but eventually for it to recover, it has to at least go above 3,350 or come back and test these levels here, like 3050, and then bounce back if there's anything worth it. So, but monthlies are not for options, definitely. So that's one. And before I go to few lists, I'll look at Tesla here. So this is doing a range bound bullish trend, but still in this zone, right in middle of this trend. So if you see weeklies here, dailies here, it definitely inclined towards coming back to testing this lower trend line and go up. So at this point, I don't have any position on it. I will short it below 675 in this range. If it fails, most probably what I expect is it will try to bull trap around 690s or this range. If it is above, then you're good to go for upper side. But most probably, as I have previously shared few charts, like it has been happening like this. It goes to a nice, perfectly textbook bull flag formation, breaks out, falls break, falls back, and forms a W and repeats the pattern. It happened 3 times actually. So this is one. It just confirmed the flag, went up and formed a W, and then come back here, same thing, perfect bull flag, formed a W, then perfect bull flag, breakout. And I'm expecting it to form a W here as well, but always sticking to the levels will help you out. But that's my sentiment around it. It will try to come back and test this one before going up. So I will be cautious with this one. It will kill premiums if you're not on the right direction. And AMD is the next one, falling wedge again after breaking out. So nice breakout. We had 120 target. I just played with a few shares, but I did not play options with it because it was just in one way direction, which is not always cool. So This one is a falling wedge. So once we break out of this one, this trend here, most likely is very close. But so once it tries to dip here or something, we can buy, or if it breaks out of this one to go for an IHS, like at this level, go here and dip back. So IHS could be something to look out for as well, but it won't be that easy on this one. AMD, if it stuck in a zone, it's known to kill the premiums. I mean, as you can see from history, it kind of stays in one particular consolidation for quite a long time. So, but it seems to be bullish. It's kind of one of those semis which are pretty backward on how it should have been compared to others. So this one was one of those lotos I kind of played on Friday. It was not able to alert it. I was sharing with few friends that it moved pretty fast on that day. Just in few candles, it just broke out here. So it's a good close on there. It has pretty good potential once it breaks out of this range here. Obviously, all time highs. It has pretty good momentum right now that it will just keep going as AMD did in. So even if you compare this with AMD, it can all this move, AMD made it in 1 week and it coming back like falling wedge and slowly comes up to form and try to hit the all-time high. So similar thing will happen with AMD, but it has its own path to reach there. And one of the other things was BA. All right. I mean, I try to share this chat with my wife, and she says that, "Are you mad? You're drawing too many lines in this one." But that's how it is. Uh, Everyone was like, "This is the one which did not recover COVID uh, before COVID peaks." So it's still in the trend where it's going to, but this candle on the daily itself was kind of good thing. It has this the inner uh, lower bound range for this one. So that's the reason I took long positions with it, but I'm not totally full size because it can easily test this 205s, and if it loses, it will stick to this particular trend line, which will be 193. So these are the good supports here actually. If you see to 205, 206 or 195, 193 is a very strong support. I mean, when if it hits there, don't even think about it. Just go along with November or December options with 220 or 230. It will reach there. However, it fastly moved down. That's how it will recover. But yeah, started the position here. I'm expecting it to recover some, maybe into 215, 220s, then we'll exit that. That's one way to play it. Or if it dips back, then I will average and wait for the recovery. But this is one of these are the few things which I have in my list. Let me see if you guys have anything else. All right, I cannot say about Baba or PDD or JD. Those are Chinese stocks and they are pretty beaten up. Everyone seems like they have been buying the dip and it's still going down. And there's many, even if you see the chart, you will not even find anything technical about it. So I will skip those to save our time. And here, I kill this trend. I kind of spotted a diamond top on this one while I was looking through my phone chat. Right? So I will give an example of what happens with the diamond tops. And I had that ETSY of Tesla diamond tops from before. This is rough, and I can draw it pretty neatly and later shade it. But whenever this happens, it will come back to a range where it started all of it, which will be this. Because this is a good support range. So this might be the range if it falls back. So let's go back to ETSY where I can show you what happened with it. So this was the diamond top and this is where we alerted. And for the ER, we played puts with the target of this one, it rightly did so. So if you see, this has the same diamond top kind of thing, and whenever it starts a trend, it will reach that trend there. And even with Tesla last year, earlier this year, I had same diamond top. Yeah, here, this one, and whenever we spotted this diamond top, I had puts at the time, and this is a target like all the way through this bowl line, and that's where we are right now. It didn't even recover that levels before now until now. So even ETSY just had an ER. That's the reason I went with I bought the dip here, because these diamond top eventually settles down with a bullish pattern. So coming back to what was short. So eventually, this will end up from what I have seen. So this will end up being coming back here and testing like this, and then breaking out of this. So I'm expecting and waiting it to short on this one. So if at all we are under 1430s, most likely it's after hours. Let's see. Yeah. So once we are below this one, I usually create an alert, push it every minute below, and save it, and it keeps popping me around if that level is there, and kind of tag it to a few other places to exit or trim my positions as well. So right now it is in a situation where it has a good short range with we should not think about 1300. At least we can start with 1413s or 1375s, and anything beyond this one will be a bonus for us. So this is one of those things I will add it to my top list. And we have mRNA. I had a Lotto calls Lotto played on this one. Um, it kind of hit that bottom range and sticking to it. I haven't played much of it here, only played it because of this confirmation of a double bottom and it retracing the level to this one here. So 408 could be easy possibility. And then once you have 408, then 420s and retest back. So this is very manipulative, and I just play very small size Lotto plays in this one. Someone asked about it. So that's an NFLX. Yeah, this is one of that which played well. So what made me to choose go calls on that one? If you see daily, I've been playing Netflix for a few days, and these are the candles which were uh, like it's trying to poke and keep hitting out back, but this is a candle which eventually closed and opened above 520s, and then this particular move we closed earlier in this range, I guess on that day, but played back again, and this is a good follow-up, and this was a range for me on Friday. And right now, if we go back to 4 hours, okay, so this is good cup and broke out, and I am not having any positions with it right now, only because this has very good tendency to fall back to 525s within one candle. So keep playing it only because it's just going for this cup and handle thing here. So it's a good cup and handle formation, and eventually there's a good inverse head and shoulders as well. If you see the same pattern being brought up here. So consolidation broke up, and in this range, it kind of holds for 2 days or so, and then it's very hard to break out this 555 zone. So once we are about 555, 575 is something which we can look, but this will be a good shot going into ER. This had very bad ER in the last 2 times. So again, going back to 570s, unless if it comes up with some good numbers with a good strategy with the gaming thing they announced, they're not going to have any good ERs is what I'm expecting. So it's going to be 555, 560 range for next couple of days if it holds this 547. And we can play accordingly on that. I used to play only Netflix before Tesla. Simply only Netflix. I used to play shorts and put calls all along from this crazy double bottom here. So from 2019 to early 2020s, I used to play Netflix alone and SPY. Okay, let's take some requests or any questions.
Hey, Raja.
Hey.
Raja, how do you, interested to know, you're pretty good at picking up the bounce plays. So how do you, like, for example, Tesla 675, but sometimes it fails at that level, right? So how do you know this is the great time to for a bounce play? Like, what kind of price action do you see? What validates that bounce play?
Okay. So let me pick an example of a bounce play which worked good for us. So there are two things. One is a bounce play and one will be a breakout play, right? So let me, there was a day where we played nicely. I want to give an example of that, but don't think yeah, this could be the one. Okay, it all depends on the levels. Let's stick to levels here. So not Friday. I want to pick something else. Netflix. Yeah. I usually stick to 5 minutes on the intraday bounce plays. So it forms a so once this is a perfect bull flag, right? And it got breakout. So if obviously if you have spotted this bull flag and it's so perfect as this one, then you are already in calls. Most of us will be in calls by this candle because it's a perfect one, and once it breaks out, it will give you good gains. But you should not, if it is so perfect, don't keep out of the money options. Like if, for example, this was on Friday and this is 548 range, right? So I would stick, that's what I alerted 545 calls. So once you're here on a expiration day and it's right around this 545 strike, so I take calls and it breaks out and hits 550 and I'm out here. The reason, I mean, you can ask like it has a long pole, nice flag, it has like half more left for it to achieve. So that's pretty standard and pretty much to everyone would expect it, right? So this is the candle where they trap you, and this is an indication. If you see this kind of indication, like the long and bottom wicks and the close to the doji, it will definitely recover back close to the bull flag formation start. And that's where I was expecting it to buy back at this one, but they did not. They kind of pull it out from here and took all the way up. And again, if you see candle here, this is a doji candle. So if a trend starts somewhere and it hits a peak, then this is a good indication. Keep an observation of this candle and this will definitely pull it back. So let's take one more example of Tesla. So how do you play puts or calls at open, right? So this is a pretty strong candle. It kind of broke the resistance we were expecting. It went to, so by this time, most of us are in calls, usually. So it should not be, because this candle ended up broke, but ended up below the resistance. This is a bearish sign. And it tried to break that level again, but it did not. Eventually, it kind of made a sign that, okay, I'm done poking around the resistance. Now I'm going to go back to support. So it's as simple as that, but it's psychological, right? And you your mindset and your sentiment towards Tesla, they announced something, it has a good flow, it's going to break out and it's going to hit 713 is a common tendency to have, and that's what they want, and they just kill the premiums and take it all away. So usually the puts would be a little less compared to calls at this time, but eventually puts will come up. But even if you see, the slow fade will eventually not give you any returns. If you have taken 670 puts or 665 puts, you should go with 685 puts, right around where it is. It's on 0-day expiration. So that's a key to have, go with in the money on 0-day expiration. That's what will save you any your premium. And bounce plays. So it kind of okay, let's take this as a trend, right? Okay, so this has been previously not trying to break. I mean, it was trying. This is in 5 minutes time range. So I will just have some psychological levels on the same day range as well. So if I had a range, it breaks out to bounce back. So in this candle on 5 minutes, it could have been like slow fade with long top wicks will be trying to tease the bears and fear out or shake out the bulls to bounce back. So I'm just trying to give you a good example, but I'm not able to find it. But it's pretty much reading the candles and trying to catch up with psychologically how it's going to be. And if you remember that day where we had a good bounce play, I guess it was 12th. Let me see. By the time I check it back, it comes back to me. Can someone ask another question, or let's go to another topic?
Raja, can you check Microsoft, please?
Okay. All right. So 705. So here, if you see this, the 705, remember 705, let me go back to daily and let me see the importance of 705 for you. So 705, here it is. So forget, let me delete all. So 705. If you see, if you write it, draw a line for 705. So whenever it broke above 705, it bounced up. Whenever it didn't hold it, it dropped pretty bad. So that's what is been happening. So whenever that level, that's a crucial level. So that I have written that down in my mind hard. So it will come with chart reading. I mean, if you are all over the place with 10, 20 or 30 different tickers playing around, bounce plays are not that easy for you to pick. But if you have good grip or good understanding about handful of stocks, how they behave, how they traditionally behave, and all those things, then you would have, I mean, every stock has its character. Like everything behaves in a way, in a repetitive manner. So I kind of have Tesla, Spy, Amazon, Netflix, and handful of things. Like I know how they behave. Like if I'm in Netflix and I have 100% on my calls, I'll definitely book them. I'll not keep it up for 150 or 200% for sure. The reason because is it's like it acts like a penny stock. It just takes it back all of. I mean, there is no real meaning to it. It will just bounce between the certain levels without any valid reason. And for Amazon to make it 100-point move, all it needs is few days of consolidation and a good dark pool, and it just moves in the next third or fourth day from it. So that's what we have Amazon dark pool 4-5 days ago. So there will be a 100-point move sometime this week, but it could be either side. But we have to stick to the levels. If it breaks down, then we'll take it. And while we are here, as you can spot here, this weekly candle has a reversal sign here. It kind of made a bullish couple of weeks here, but definitely it had this candle and hit back the downtrend line, right? Let me try it again. So it had this sign, it hit back the downtrend line. It had a sign, kind of reached out, extended here. And again, there's a reversal candle here, and it's all the way to the trend line. So this kind of candle clearly indicates it should hit the trend line, and it already did. Right now we are here. So either at this point, it's either way, like can come back and test it and squeeze it up, because the space is becoming pretty narrow here. If you see, the space has become pretty narrow, so it could go anyway. Once it breaks out of 705 and holds this 745 in a week, then expect it to go back to 900s is no brainer. So that's one of the places I'm looking out to for the near term. I know it's not very clear. MN options. What's your name? I don't know.
This Mayur. No, this helps, Raja. And in terms of price action, you just see the volume, right? During that candle, 5-minute candle.
Yeah.
Like, what do you really look for price action?
The price action is nothing, but that's what I was explaining. So every candle denotes certain meaning to it, right? Like the bulls and bears have been trying to fight. Like, for example, there are a lot of buyers and a lot of sellers. But eventually, if you see these first 4 candles, bears win, right? Because at this point, it pumped up all the way to 719, but it was not able to hold this above 685, sorry, 692, and it was not able to hold above 685. But eventually, it closed below 683, which is a crucial level I've been telling, right? 680. So this is the perfect scenario where you short it with 680 calls to hit it to 670. 675 is the previous low, so exactly it bounced up. So the bounce, it will come with a level, a trend. So let me explain you in a different way. So every hour, everything flows in a trend. So if I'm playing here, and if this is the, if this falls here, and let me see, try to show you. So how do I bounce applies is stick to a level. So I kind of have this is the trend which is not able to break out of this line, but eventually there will be a certain bounce where it happens. So by the time we don't know that it will bounce here, but eventually I had to stick with it had this thing. At least we know at this point we didn't buy it, but on the day before I draw it out. I guess like if it is below 675, it's gonna go for the next support, which is 666, and below is 665. And I guess this is where we bought big and we sold it off with 30 points, like 680s around here. And this was a group. So why did I go for the bounce play here? Is because it had hit the previous resistance, which is 720s, and had a big steep sell-off because of some news. Forget about the news. Don't tie up news to charting is my strategy. Whenever it goes to a level where it can get easy bounce, this was one of those levels. Even if you miss it out, if you see the play we did, we went with September or October calls on this one. We didn't go weeklies. Why? Because 629 is the next. It can easily drag it to 629, but it will recover fast because this is 650, 629 is a golden buy zone for Tesla. And right now 705 and 720 is a golden sell zone. So within that range, it's been ping-ponging, but whenever the range is breaking out, it will go at least 30, 40 or 50 points in a day or a session in that direction. If it is below 629, it will easily go into further 50 points down, and above 730, 745, it will hit 800s in no time. So it all, you have to draw lines for yourself, Mayur. So right now, if you see it, for the current 1 hour, if you see it, it's not able to break out of this one. and it does not have any room, but still you could just start with this. What it does here is that if it cannot break 683, because we know 683 is crucial, and also 688. So you can watch for this one. Don't look at whatever news or whatever is happening. Just look at these changes. So if in the pre-market, if it is poking at 683, which means that it's faking it out. Because if the intention of the chart is to go up, it will sit above 683. It will hit 688. It will try to come back to 683. Is a bounce, and that's where it will go back up. But if it is poking around 693 and not doing it, but in the first 5-10 minutes candle, it goes all the way to 683, but falls back below 683, like the way it did here, it will come back to 666, because 665, 662 is a trend line we have drawn here, but 665 is a good support. So we can look out for that for again a bounce play. Make sense?
Yes, completely makes sense. This is a good explanation. Thank you.
And also,
So like there's like 675 levels you pay attention to, 683, 692, where it feels a lot. Right?
Yeah. So that's, I mean, whatever we discussed is a bear case, 665. But as I've been saying, there's a good chance that it might hit the 665 for double bottom and then recover. If it has the intention to go up at 665, it will give you a hard reversal like this one. If it is not giving you a hard reversal, instead, if you see a double bottom so there's a good way to understand double bottom. So here, this was a double bottom, but if you see, it did not have this intention to break it. Hence, it formed a triple bottom here, kind of a 3-strike rule. But the good thing is that the three strike rule, what happens with the 3-strike rule is it will go below that level, retest that level, and goes below it with the height of this range. So I was expecting it to do that, but eventually nicely got this action here, which consolidated and pushed into close, and the after close is also good. So the indication here is pretty clear that it want to hit 3228 or 3330. Above that, we'll look at it later. But right now, if we have to consider it, it has to open above 3205 and try to poke around 3218. And if the momentum is strong and if the chart they want to take it out, then they will take out 3230 at open itself, and they will not give you enough time to react, right? So that's the reason I had calls from Friday. Either I will trim or close it at this range. So it all depends on the sentiment and psychological thinking around it. So to answer your question again, if we break above 683 in pre-market and in the range for in this range, then I will take calls with 683 as a stop. So trading always comes with profit or loss, not just profits, right? So we have to be prepared for it. In the pre-market, if you are above 683 and between 683 and 688, then you take calls at open, expect it to hit 695 and take your gains, at least some. And on any dips, you can try to add more, because 688 will not be taken down if they have made that move. So if it,
Got it.
Yeah, if it is above 695, then it's easy 705.
It could backtest to 683 before it bounces up, right? So the stop loss could be a little bit lower than 683 now.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your how much you are ready to lose, right? Are you willing to lose 20% or 30%? What is your commitment towards the trade, and how hard you think that it will move or not? Sometimes we stick on a trade, and even we stick a 50% loss, because we know that the action is pretty vague, and it has kind of they're shaking it out or something. The major level he's not yet taken down, then I will stick to 50% loss as well, and because even if you average there, you would easily recover it. but it depends on if it is a weekly or the day's lotto or 1 or 2 months out. So you need to have enough time for your trade to work it out for you as well.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So, but if you see in these zones here, if we have this downtrend line is being bouncing off as well. So too much lines confuses you as well. So try to write it down, write down few lines and try to write a plan. If it is above 683, then I will take calls, and 683 or maybe 679 is something where I will stop out. So eventually you make a plan and delete all of it and just mark the levels. Okay, this is my stop loss, this is my entry, this is my trim, this is my exit. So if you go up into a day with that clarity, eventually you will either have less losses or good gains. These are the two possibilities. But if you just go with just buying calls and just sticking around with it, even if it's not working for you, eventually you'll have more losses than gains. And whenever you see some gains, you will chicken out of it. I mean, you will just book them too soon. So what happens is basic trend will be you will be losing big and gaining small. And you will be so much pissed at yourself, and this will be a regular tendency. So I hope that helps.
Completely. Yes. Thank you, Raja.
Sure. Rakesh, you have a question?
Yeah. I was actually looking at AMAT, and what do you think it's going to do this week? If you can.
The AMAT was kind of bullish, I guess. That's what I shared. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's at good support levels for this range. So we'll go to daily. A good volume showing up here. That's good as well. So good volumes. It's having a hard time breaking out of this 132. Let's mark a level there. Let's go back to 4 hours. The action seems to be, hold on a second, I'm gonna get over. Just a second. Before I comment something, I have to just write a few lines to see how it fits. Okay. So far, that's the reason the volume is showing up is because it's at the bottom of the trend, and these long candles and long wicks and volatility is too strong in here. So what could it do? Yeah, it shouldn't have. Yeah, if you see there, it bounced very hard from this trend line. So Meyer even just look at this as an example here. So the bounce came off with the touch of the downtrend. So Rakesh, I will look at this one too closely, but I would say just look at this trend on hourly to begin with. Are you in a position already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What is your position? If you can.
I mean, I took it like last month. This week call's going to end around 140 call.
Okay. So it has only monthly, right?
Yeah.
Monthly.
No, I think it has weekly.
Weekly calls too. Okay. No, I'm just
Yeah.
asking. Sure. So at this point, if it is not above 128.26, so just make a room with 129. If it is above 129, it will touch 130 and try to break out. So this is a zone. this is a risky zone, 130 and 132. As you can see, big sell-offs have been happening. So if it breaks above, and anyone can say it will nicely move into 135. But here, at this point, it's bouncing hard from these levels. Like buyers are going in with good, and even if you see the volume in the last day, second half of this day, it's good. It is a clear indication that it's gonna break out of 129 and try to hit towards 132. So if you have this calls position open for since last month and it's close to expiration, probably you might have a premium kill happen on that one. So yeah, you can just look at this level. If it is above 129, 130, it should be very fast, but 132 could also be tested. And I would say just try if you can secure some equity or roll them out with same 140 strike into September 17 would be a better bet, because
Okay.
if it doesn't break out of this one, then it's going to fall back, and eventually overall, if you see, this is a good 127, 123 seems to be another level which it can hit and before going up. So on any given chance, try to get your trade more time. For example, if it is 129, 130, close that and open September 17, 140, or also 145. So that you have more time on your trade, it will have good recovery opportunity. But if you just stick with it, it might just kill the premium and you might not have that opportunity. But if you see it's in downtrend, meaning that only if it breaks out of this one, above 130 on a close of a day will give you a good chance of bullish movement towards 145. But because of this downtrend, I'm skeptical that it might go a little bit down.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure. Anyone? You can see this 123 is a good support here. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if it dips hard at 123, then any either at 123 or at 130, close your weekly call position and roll it out to September 17th, so that you will have a good amount of time. And it can move pretty hard in the next week in any direction, right? Because 123 breakout will bring you 117, or 130 or 132 breakout will give you 138. So in either case, a good move might happen in the next week. It all depends on price action. I can look into it. You can ask me, tag me a couple of times if I don't get you what you need. But yeah.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. I don't see your name, but I see your face, buddy. So what's the question? Yes.
Raja, can you hear me? Srinath here.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So all these chart explanations are really good, Raja. So one question that I have, or like probably seeking your advice, maybe it's somebody in the group also probably thinking about it, is I started options pretty new, probably 6 to 8 months ago. I have a very small account, didn't want to throw a lot of money into it in the beginning when I was trying. I did like most of option selling. I started with a different trading account, and I use them still till now. But I started with fresh capital when I started, when I got hooked up with you guys through Bala. I brought in a new account. So when you're trading small, what is your advice as far as like, when you're picking an option? The risk tolerance is one thing. I totally understand that playing with lottos comes with risk. So what do you suggest? Like, I look for in your content, like, you're playing long calls a lot of times, and then you're playing a lot of short calls, lottos, quick trades. When you're showing these monthly trends, like what should a beginner trader or probably trading in a smaller account look for in these trades?
Sure.
Should I place longer options, like, long time expiry, and like, try to book small gains in it, or how do I play with you guys? That's essentially my question. Yeah.
Okay. So if your account is less than 7K, 10K, then don't touch Tesla Amazon is the first statement I will make. It will take I mean, it will eat that account in one trade. To be frank, in a 5-minute candle. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I know Bala. He started with small account as well, and he stick to SPY pretty long, so that he could make at least, maybe, I don't know his account, but he made double or triple of his original size of the account, and then he moved on to
Sorry.
keeping some Tesla or some Amazon or something else, because
Mhm.
one thing, you're new to options. Second thing, you have a small account. So make sure the first two aims should be, what is options all about? How does it work? And how does charting or following an alert, or what would be my stop loss? These are the few things that you need to gain from your experience. We can say,
Mhm.
you can just hear what others say or type in the Twitter and all those things, but it will come out of your experience only. I mean, if you read something, it would stick with you for some time, but if you experience something, it will stick with you for, you can even remember it. So that's first.
Yep.
And if you're starting with an account, what is your aim? Like, you want to double your account, and don't go doubling account with a short-term range. Try to, I mean, 6 months is a good time zone to start options, and you're here. So asking this question is good. The main thing is that you have the same amount of time to make it in a range. Like, try to double your account in 6 months or so. So be so patient with that small account. What you will learn is, you will learn what is options play, what is risk tolerance, how should I stop, trim, exit, and what are the other things. So if you learn these things, and what is a bounce play, or what is a breakout, and all these things, if you learn these things, then you will make money at any given point in the future. But if you try to aim for money at the beginning, then you will not concentrate on what is learning about it, learning about the options. So if you don't learn it, then you might get lucky doubling your account in a week, but I will assure you, you will lose your whole account in the next one session. I've seen.
Yeah, I already did that. So so basically I did not lose that much, but like I'm in the 10K range in the account with at least, like, now I have a separate E-Trade account that I'm using just for trading with you guys. I still have my old Tasty Trade account, which I used to do option selling, and I have a long Twitter option for the losses that I did. So I am learning from this to kind of implement how I'm going to be closing that account soon and bringing the money over, or doing whatever to consolidate everything together. But exactly what you said was, like, I doubled my account size probably in the first 3 or 4 trades with you guys, but then I did not do stop losses very often. I was just, like, maybe taking a little bit risk, did not understand how the chart was going to move. So to be frank, I lost probably 4K in Tesla this month. So that's how much I lost because of not having stop losses, and not trimming at the right time. So, and another question from my side to you is, like, when you have a lot of questions, like, maybe you trade with like 15 contracts, 20 contracts, you're trimming it down, doing things like, what if I come in, like, when I realistically play Tesla with you guys, I just have to play with like 1 or 2 contracts. That's the max I do, because I didn't want to go large on that particular trade, and wanted to reserve some money if something comes up, any lotto that you're posting. So that is kind of how I'm playing up till now, but I kind of understand that I should be sticking with smaller stocks and longer term expiry, and reading the charts and understanding things before even looking at making money or doubling my money. So that is not my intention. I just got lucky and then blew most of it away. So that's exactly what you said to me.
Yeah, so that is the basic thing happens to every trader. They will make money. That So the main thing is not trading good, not trading green trades or red trades or whatever the strategy, weeklies or lotus. Not everything is secondary. The first main thing is, I will assure you that none of the traders who are successful, if they see good gains, they will not be able to manage it. They will lose it all. That is a human tendency, and there's a reason trading works, and there's a reason money market makers, they make money, and this thing still runs on each, because of even this COVID, everyone is trading, right? So because it's on high demand, if everyone is making money, how will it survive? It will not.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Somebody has to lose to somebody to win.
yeah. So the main thing is, when you make money, are you capable of controlling your emotions? And you believe it or not, I used to put 10K account, and bring it to a certain point, trim half of my account, take it back to my bank, transfer it to my original bank account, and then replay with that amount. It's very hard to do it because you want to say like, okay, I have 10K, I made 5K, now 15K. I want to just use that 15K and make it 30K in a moment.
30K, yeah.
Yeah, so that is a human tendency. I mean, always, okay, if you put 10K, you got 5K, then 3K back to your bank. Then with the 12K, just try to make another 3K, then 2K back to your bank. Keep this a good practice. You will definitely overall, even on a good, very bad day, for example, you lost 50% of your account on a day or something, we took a bad trade and you lost it. But still, theoretically or psychologically, you will say that, okay, I kind of withdrawn few profits from my account. My original investment is back into my account and have some additional gains as well. So I didn't lose much. I can still do it. But if you don't do it, if you keep all the gains and equity in the trading account and you keep trading it, then you will. That's where you will emotionally hit back, and you will not be able to get back from it. I mean, you will be so. Two things will kick in at that point: fear and greed. Greed is to recover your losses. Fear is like, on any small green, you will close that position. On any small green, you will close the position. So this happens to everyone. So trying to be calm and trying to manage the trade and the account is the first thing, then doing anything else.
Definitely. Raja. So overall, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Srinath, this is Mayur. On Raja's point, I started doing that recently, where I pay myself. So I treated this as like the side income business, but I want to be happy at the end of the day. So when I take out or withdraw like 2K, 3K, it's at least I'm securing those gains. For sure, I'm starting back from the same amount. It's a little bit demotivating, but at the same time, I'm being paid. So that will keep you going on. Otherwise, one time you'll make 20K, you'll lose back to 5K. That is going to be very depressing. So I completely agree with you. Yeah.
Thanks, Mayur. So Raja, I have one last thing to ask. Like, finally, when I'm looking at your trades and picking those trades, when to trade, and what should I focus on? Is it like longer expiry when you post book a call for September 17th, or when you talked about BA, when it hits below 205, if you get that's the golden opportunity to get BA, go long on it. So do I just pick those trades and kind of work my way up?
Yeah, so at this point, you can with a small account, what you need to do is 75% of your equity should be used only towards options with greater than 35 days of expiry.
Okay.
Because even if it goes south or not on opposite to your trade, you have enough time to recover some of it, if not all of it, or maybe make more of it. So 75% should be about 35. 35, why 35 days is it will go to the next month's options.
Yep. Okay. Choose monthly options then. Okay.
Yeah. So 25% out of 25%, I would say keep 15-20% towards playing weeklies on Monday and Tuesday only. Starting Wednesday to Friday, it will be very volatile most of the time, or either sideways, kill the premium, things like that. So if you have 10K, 7,500 should be going towards monthly options on a swing basis. Sometimes it won't be, it might give a good move, big move, and you might get gains. You will chicken out of it on the same day. That's totally fine. But keep very small on lotos or weeklies.
Okay.
That would be my, I mean, it would be hard to remember, right? So I would say write down few things and put it on your desk. And whenever you're entering a trade, however, I mean, even I say, okay, it will move 50 points in the next 2 sessions. If I'm too confident as well, just put something in front of you. What is, I mean, if you're going into a trade, are you prepared for 25 to 30% of a loss? I mean, sometimes what I do when I'm super bullish on Amazon, Tesla, I just try to close all my positions and just put everything into Tesla because it will give you that gains. So for example, if I put 50K into Tesla, I will just think for 1 minute, 50K. Okay. If I lose 30%, it is like 15-20K you're losing in a trade. It can happen in 5 minutes. So, okay, I will take that risk. I will either take 15K loss or 10K profit out of it. So I'll just chip in, I'll close it, I'll take small gain, get out of it. So it depends on your basic intention, right? So that's the reason, write it down. Whenever you're trying to enter a trade, think about it. I'm ready to lose 2K on this account, on this position. And if it hits that, no matter what Raja says, I will out of it.
Got it. Definitely, sir.
And if you're like, if you're check with me, it's totally fine with me. Just tag me. This position I took at this level, I'm 20% down. I want to close out. Need your input. If I don't respond to you in next 5-10 minutes and it's going south, then close it out. I mean, you survive a trade to play more trades in the future. Just don't stick with it so that it will. A lot of times, what happens out of 100% of the times, it will like 30% or 40%, it will reverse back, and you will feel, oh man, I've missed this so much gains. Kind of closed in red, but it went back so deep in the green. But it only happens 30% of the time. But the rest of the 70%, you will stick seeing the screen and crying, why did I lose it? Why didn't I close it?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, the other example I have, I'm long on Twitter until like 2023. I sold a put, naked put against it. So to recover like a $1,500 loss, I just went out the money, out the like, long expiry, hoping that I could close at the end of the year. But like, I'll probably check on you, Raja, like, looking at Twitter, I'll do the analysis based on drawing these lines. I've never done that. So my trades have always been more of like if it's like, green, like, short term, thinking about it, going by the news, like, that's what, when I laugh, like when you said, like, I don't go by the news, I do the chart. So
yeah, I mean, you will be surprised to know, even if it is a year or something, I play with the chart. I don't play with the news at any given point. So it's looking like a good 100% inverse head and shoulders, meaning that if these levels are bought here, if it doesn't go below these levels, like it doesn't go, if 56.75 is held, then it will go back to it is in next 3 weeks or something like that. Sure, inverse head and shoulders, and it's kind of confirmation here, and maybe you can.
Okay, if it keeps the 59.65 levels.
Yeah, if it keeps 59.65, or you can just give it some more time, like 59. You can just mark 59. If it doesn't go below 59, then it will come back to 72 and eventually 80. But if it goes below 59, and another level to watch is 57 here, but these levels are down, then it will come back to 51.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, Raja. And one last, sorry, I'm asking you multiple questions. So I'm using E-Trade right now. Not very comfortable with the E-Trade Pro software. So which do you use for like,
Power E-Trade?
No, I haven't tried the Power E-Trade.
Oh,
but let me just try that. Yeah.
Yeah, Power E-Trade.
I've been trading with my phone right now, pretty much. So it's hard for me. I read the graphs in Tasty Trade and then place the trades on phone. So I keep both the things close to me.
That's right. So Power E-Trade, you have an app in the phone as well as once you log in to the website, you can click on the Power E-Trade button. It will open a new everything. So it has instant refresh and instant codes and all those things. You will definitely love it.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, you will definitely love it. I use E-Trade most of the time, and I have a couple of Robinhoods for Lotto things. I keep it because I try to save some on there so that I can play some Lotus. All right. Anyone else?
Thanks, Raja.
Sure. No problem.
Raja, for the volume, do you keep the relative volume or average volume? I mean, I know you use Webbull. a lot for charts, right? I don't think you use anything else, Thinkorswarm, but for volume, most often people use like relative volume to see if it's above the usual trend, below the usual trend.
I don't use any indicators. As you can see, I just go with the plain naked charts.
Yeah.
I don't
So
like anything else in there. So I don't
no
know.
VWAP, no RSI. Yeah.
No, no. Oh, see, okay, this is my theory about it. You will have all these indicators on the chart only to, so when a trader goes back to check flow or check indicators, check what's next to come, the reason is because he has a trade, he has a position, and he wants to back it up with some confidence on the flow or indicators saying, oh, okay, these all things are in my favor, so this trade is going to be successful. So that is a reason they kind of do all those things. Is my intention. I just go naked, man. So I just use this naked charts. I don't, everything else is
Simple.
to me. Yeah, simple.
Yeah. Well, I know. I always wanted to ask you, when you know Tesla, always you say there is some IHS. What exactly is that?
Investor shoulders. You mean?
Yeah. How do you see that? Yes.
Yeah. How do you see that? So sometimes it's very hard to tell, man. Like so believe it or not, I have these levels written out in my mind. Like if I'm talking to you now without seeing chat, I can say it will bounce off this level and all those things because I kind of read them out. So here, this will be an head, and this kind of shoulder formation is like this is not a perfect example there, but you can say, yeah, here. So this is a head. Let me write it down. Are you asking me how
Yeah. How do you see that quickly?
No,
You know,
I mean,
inverse head and shoulders.
So how do I see quickly is something I cannot answer you, right? I don't know. It comes to me, man. I kind of
Yeah, got it. Yeah, see, now you plotted, it's easier to analyze. But when I look at myself, I'm looking at Webbull. Only after you plot it, then I see it. Oh, okay, there it is. You know, it's hard.
Sometimes I spot it here. If this is an inverse head and shoulders, I would say I spot it here itself most of the time. How does it happen? How do I do it? I mean, because it's just at but occurrence of inverse head and shoulders at this point is 30% to less than 30% because it has to make the rest of the formation. But I see the whole trend, right? Okay, it's here and this side. This is I draw lines to it. And how does, so if it is here, it's already making a move. It already made a move here, right? And it's failing here. What else could happen here? Right? So it had this cup. All you need to do is the rest of the formation. How does it fit? It rejects here. Rejects, then what happens? It will come back to the trend. So as you can see, cup and deep. So once it hits this one, what happens? It will go back up. So what formation is this now? Almost close to IHS, right? Head and shoulders has been formed. And once it breaks out, what at this point it confirmation, like what happens? Once it breaks out, it retests it, and comes back up. So inverse head and shoulders. And it needs to break out of it to confirmation, but it eventually did not. But I play instead. So let me revert few things here. So people will try to play here, right? Okay, inverse head and shoulders formed here, 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 and breaking out. I go huge on calls here. That's what people keep saying. But I try to play it from here all the way down and up until here. And at this point, I will try to play with weeklies because there is only 30% chance it will hit this level and 70% chance it will fail it off because everyone is spotted IHS and it's breaking out, and they put a lot of money, and that's where they collect it. So instead, I don't play puts because I don't want to take others' money. That's just a way of saying it. But calls is something I like. Most of the times, even I'm confident about a level like here, it will bounce it back from here and form this formation. Even I know it, I don't play puts only because sometimes I get very strong confidence on call play rather than put play. I'm kind of inclined towards it. So 2020 messed up my mind. Like I played Tesla all along. Every day morning, just come up, wake up, type Tesla, type a strike, call. That's it. Book again.
Wow. Interesting.
All right, I'm done here. Just wanted to share like how things work out. Few trades did not work out. It's bound to happen. But the thing is that don't go big. Don't go big on a situation where it is very clear that it will break out and make a move. So that's what I mean. If you remember on this day, I guess when it kept going down all the way, I bought big on this one. I guess I shared that with you, Satya, and we closed up and we played. Sometimes I don't play Tesla at all, and sometimes I play because I cannot see that indication where it might sideline, but rather take any action. So let's see how it goes. And don't hesitate to tag me and ask questions. It's fine. This group used to be a paid group before, and I stopped the paid membership only because, as you can see, there's a SPY on weekly. If you see, what is this chat, man? I mean, it's like it's speaking out here, and everyone wants to sell short it, and it still keeps going up. So, but I seriously think we'll have some correction. And the good thing we spotted a weekly here is that it has this doji on the weekly. You see here, doji on the weekly. There's a spot. If you see here, there's a doji on the weekly here, and it had a good pullback. Doji and pullback. So what is this? It's close to what we know of. So let's see if we come back to. I'm very much eager to waiting for this level to hit 420s. If we come back to 420s, I mean, I'll put half of my 401k back into the market. I booked my gains around 415, I guess, in my 401k. I posted in 401k channel. Yeah. See,
sometimes I know Raja. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. See, I mean, it gives you a good indication on monthlies and weeklies. Sometimes what is the September is going to be. So rather than if you see on daily, it kind of a bounce and recover, and it's clear that it might test this 447 for sure, and maybe repeat the same things which it did before. But if you see on weeklies, weekly candles, and on June 19, yeah, 18. So June 18th, it down and recovered, but the candle was super bearish, but it was contradicted with the super bullish candle, moved around. And June 18th and then July 18th was another dip. So if you see, this was not so a reversal candle, and it was bought up back. But this week, that's what something was odd this week. The reason is, if you see, it didn't as much as it's supposed to. I mean, even if that's what I posted in the chats as well. Let me pick up the chat. Right, so
Raja, one last thing.
Yeah, let me complete this one. We'll take one off. So I was expecting it to dip here and recover on Monday, and that's where it is pretty much in sync with previous occurrences. But what happened is it dipped and recovered on the same week, and making that week a bearish looking candle on the weekly. So this is something which we need to look into. So if we are below 441, it will come back and test 435. And eventually 420 is what I'm aiming at. But let's see. Let's always keep open mind. Anything chat might say, but keep an open mind to see how it reacts. But this is what I was trying to say. A weekly candle will just pull back a little bit more. And if you see last year's weekly, where is that? September, yeah, 2020. So last year, this is September month. It's dip and recover. So was expecting similar from this month as well, the coming September.
Hello?
All right, Balaji, you have something?
Yeah, Raja. So can you give us the candlesticks, right? So when you see these wicks extended on a red candle and green candle, so what do you expect on those candles, like different kind of candles, right?
This one?
Yeah, like
Okay,
so
so candle reading itself, you're asking.
yeah. How you read that? Like on a red candle, if the wicks on the top extends, you trade it on a different way, right? Like,
so
what is your
simple? I mean, the candle, you can find this information anywhere. But if you see a long wicks at the bottom, means that buyers are buying that dip. So bulls are in control, and they are buying it up. And it doesn't matter which color candle is. If the wicks is at the bottom, it is buyers who are in control, meaning that all this buying action will result in an upward movement. And if you see this long wicks at the top will result in downwards action, which means that sellers are in control. Let me go better. So even though here the SPY is trending down, it has long wicks at the bottom, meaning that the dip has been bought, and that's the reason it kind of bounced high. And if you see here, there's no long wicks, meaning that everyone is selling it, and that's where it opened down. So that's what I was expecting. It opened down and it did, but eventually they bought it up. That's was surprising. So that's a clear indication. Like if you have these are market more plays, so don't always leave on it. But candle readings will help you enter or exit a trade most often, rather than trying to find a direction. So one last thing I will say before I'm done with is Amazon. You see, these hammer candles are super good on Amazon most of the time. So here, so if you see here, all these red candles with the top wicks, meaning that they try to push it up, but the sellers they are not confident. The traders are not confident. They are selling it off, and eventually you see that action dropping down below. And where was that? There was a nice reversal hammer candle. So always, I would say, just stick in the first 5 minutes. If the candles are super poking out, but not eventually grabbing that resistance, then it will fall down. And you cannot trade Amazon with all this information, because you see, it can be meaningless. Like, you're lucky to buy puts here, you're lucky to buy calls here. That's how it is on Amazon sometimes. But I didn't play here, but we entered somewhere at this stage. It was kind of forming this pattern. I was expecting it to hit 3210, and I wanted to close my trade half there. But eventually it kind of hit off. So it closed around this candle. And we formed this formation, tried to enter a trade once it above the T190, but eventually it did not. But I waited it for a long time, and this was a confirmation. Like it was clearly trying to go down T180, but it was not. It gave a good indication that it's going to hit bottom, but it did not. Second time and third time. And by seeing this candle, I thought it will at least hit 3190, and I wanted to get an entry, and this is where we entered, and eventually happened. I usually play zero same day trade here for quick 100 or 200% gains. I kind of did have the confidence on that one on the day.
Thanks, Raja.
Okay. All right. I'm good here. We'll try to have this some other time as well. As I mentioned, I'm having my son in India, and kind of family situation kind of holding me off on that. And before even we stopped paid membership, I had some family thing as well. So hopefully September will get some good things moving around in my personal life. Then I'll come back to normality and continue what we did before, and hopefully we'll all end up in good shape by end of 2021. Okay, guys, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Raja.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Raja. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thanks, Neil. Bye.